Today we're going to be going over an introduction to our phonics series, Smart Phonics, and I'll be trying to go over some tips and strategies as well as some phonics activities for you guys to utilize in your classroom. Okay, so feel free to kind of, hopefully I'll get you guys some things that you can take back to your class. All right. There you go. Nice to see you again. Okay, so before we get started, for those that are just coming in right now, I would like to ask you guys to change your chat setting. Okay, change your chat setting to all panelists and attendees. Okay, so throughout my webinars, I like to ask questions about what you guys do in your classroom, what you find effective, and I think it's very important that we get to share all of our experiences with each other, because I can share a lot of my experiences, a lot of my activities and ideas with all of you, but we have sometimes over 200 teachers sometimes in the webinars, or even just 100 is a lot. So if we can get ideas from each other, I feel like that would be an even greater resource than me talking so much all the time as well. Okay, so if you guys can look at your chat and change from all panelists to attendees, that would be great. And in a little bit, I'll be asking some questions and try to interact with you guys as much as I can throughout these webinars. Usually in offline seminars, I'm able to ask questions and get kind of feedback and all that. So I want to try to do the same, or like the best that I can in today's webinar as well. Okay? And as well, I do have colleagues in the chat. So please utilize the chat or the Q&A. They will help you with all the questions that you have. A lot of times, especially if I'm asking questions for responses, your questions can be kind of pushed and easily missed in the chat. So in the case that happens, just go ahead and put it in the Q&A, and all my colleagues here in the future will get to your question and answer the best that we can. All right? Okay, so let's continue on. So the agenda for today, what I am going to cover. So for those, was there anyone that was in Sue's webinar yesterday? So we had a phonics webinar yesterday as well. So if you can, just kind of curious how many were a part of that as well. We had some uni return ones. So even if you did miss it, I will be sharing our YouTube channel later on. You can go to our YouTube channel and watch all of our webinars that we've done thus far. Okay, so thank you guys for coming here and taking your time again. So just kind of focusing a bit more on some of the phonics series that Sue talked about yesterday, and kind of a little bit of review for some of the people that are new that wasn't able to make it yesterday. Okay, so going to first just discuss the goal of phonics, okay, and then introduce our series, so Smart Phonics series, what components it has and what kind of resources that we have prepared for you to use in your classroom. Okay, so we've done a lot to kind of make teaching easier for you, as easy as it can get, okay, for you guys. So trying not to worry about what resources and on all that, okay? And then after the introduction, going to talk about some teaching tips and activities, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. And if you guys have any questions at the end, I'll kind of look over the Q&A from what hasn't been answered and maybe answer some questions towards the end, okay? All right, so first one here, what is the goal of phonics? Okay, what is the goal of phonics? So I have some blanks here. So what is the goal of phonics? to equip students with the skills to what? So here comes, this is where you guys come in for the chat. So let's go word by word here and see if you guys can kind of guess what we have here. So I gave you a little bit of a hint. Each space here is one letter, okay? So I'll give you the length of the word. So can you guys kind of guess this first blank here? So there's a 6-letter word. I didn't make this like a hangman style, so you can't guess like the letter or anything. So what word do you think this is? So for number 1, so blank words on their own, so they become blank readers. Readers. So we have understand, read independent. Ooh, independent's a good word. Recognize, independent. So remember, 6-letter word. Listen, get, good guess. Anyone else? Useful, okay. Pronounce and reading, okay. Got some good guesses here. Fluent reader, okay. Fluent readers. Detect, ooh, Doug, you're close. It's very close, very hot. Detect is close. I'll give a few more here. So the first word, close to detect, but, oh, hold on, I have to click my thing here. Decode, okay? So independent was correct, I saw Paula. So we have to equip students with the skills to decode words on their own so they become independent readers, okay? So that's kind of our goal here. And now for number 2. So number 2, what do you think here? To blank words and reconstruct the words in the form of what language? To read words and reconstruct the words in the form of, so we have a 4-letter word. So remember, this is phonics. Okay, we're doing phonics. Pronounce, hear and spoken. Hear and writing, read and writing. Ooh, we're getting a little mix up here. Read and written. Hear, speak. So you guys are on the right track. Just kind of have to mix up the words a little bit. I see a lot of half correct answers here. So it's to hear words and reconstruct the words in the form of written language. So as a collective audience, we got the right answer. I saw a lot of hear and a lot of written. Just needed to put them together. Okay, so these are the kind of goals that we have for phonics. Okay, so in the classroom, what approach do you prefer? Sue had talked about these approaches yesterday. So the phonics approach and the whole word approach. So just kind of curious, which do you guys prefer in the classroom? A little bit of both? Yeah, I think both, trying to find that balance. Okay? So we're trying to find the balance between phonics and whole word approach. Okay? So we're trying to find the balance between using both approaches together. Okay? Yeah, both depending on the objective. Very good. So just trying to, like I said, trying to find that balance. Okay? Now, so I have some kind of characteristics here for each. So I want to try to get through together, see if we can kind of categorize for these two approaches. Okay? So we have accuracy, explicit directions, background knowledge, decoding, natural exposure, memorization, focus on meaning, focus on spelling. Okay? So now my task for you guys is to put them in the correct approach. Okay? So which one is phonics, which one is a whole word. Okay? So we'll go down the line here. So for accuracy, phonics or whole word? Whole word. Which one do you think? Whole word. Accuracy. See a lot of whole words. Romy with the phonics. Any other guesses? A lot of whole words in phonics. Oh, here comes the phonics. The phonics is coming in now. Decoding. It's not phonics. So accuracy goes into phonics. Phonics, we're breaking down the letters. Okay? So we're getting accurate sounds into the whole approach. Okay? So it's focusing on matching the letters and the sounds here. Okay? So accuracy goes into the phonics. The whole word, you kind of, break it down a bit. So next, explicit directions. Explicit directions. Where do we go for here? Word. Explicit directions goes into phonics as well. Okay? A lot of people got the phonics. So explicit directions, accuracy, and explicit directions. Okay? Background knowledge. Background knowledge. Good. Whole word. Good. So this kind of ties into kind of what Sue talked about yesterday with the EFL and ESL environments. Students that are exposed more to words, okay? Exposed more based on their settings, okay? Next one, decoding. Decoding, phonics, okay, very good. I think that one was an easier one. Natural exposure. I kind of gave a hint for this one just a second ago. Natural exposure, very good, is the whole word. Next one, memorization. Memorization. Yeah, memorization is more on the whole word. Okay, so kind of like, the opposite of decoding, essentially. Yeah, you kind of decode the letters into the individual sounds and how to read it. The whole word, if you're looking at it all, you kind of memorize, okay, this is how it's said, okay? And then the last two focuses here. Focus on meaning, focus on spelling. So meaning goes where? Whole word, very good. And the last one goes on, focus on spelling. I think you guys all got 100% almost. I give you guys a shiny star for an A. Okay, very good. So that's kind of going over the different approaches, okay? Sue kind of went in a little bit on phonics and whole word, so kind of a little bit of review for you guys, all right? So now let's get into smart phonics, okay? So what do we have in this series for you guys to use in your classroom? So starting off with the components, all right? So smart phonics, of course, will have the student book and a workbook, okay, for the extra practice. We do have a game book as well, like that has a lot of board games to use in your class, as well as the teacher's manual. And the teacher's manual will include extra game ideas. For those new teachers, teacher's manuals will give you the kind of guidance to help you kind of plan your classes and how to teach. A lot of the team that we have here were teachers before, so we kind of thought about what works well in our classes and kind of put it in to, for the new teachers in the teacher's manual, okay? So also flashcards, very important, especially for phonics, to be included in the teacher's manual. And we have some digital and online components as well, okay? So let's kind of dive deeper into these components. Oh, and going with the digital, we have a lot of downloadables too. So for those that know about our eSmart class, you can find a lot of resources on eSmart class, as well as just searching eFuture and finding our website, and you can get a lot of resources there as well, okay? So going a little deeper into the student book, each book has roughly 7 to 8 units, depending on the level, or basic units, depending on the level, and review units every 4 units as well. So kind of making sure students review and understand fully. Okay. And then this is kind of the lesson flow of student book. So we always have the introduction, the beginning, and then some practice. And then kind of introduce a little more, practice. Okay? Each unit will have a story. And Sue mentioned yesterday, again, referencing her a lot, stories are good for students to get exposed to those sight words, also learning the words in context. So if you aren't using stories with phonics, it would be a good kind of help to the students as they transition into reading, to use stories, to use readers, okay? And as well, in this lesson, we do have extra writing practice, okay? So in this series, I will make a note that in Smart Phonics 1, which covers the single letter sounds, there are 6 pages per lesson, but as you go through the series to book 2 through 5, it will have 8 pages per lesson. So there will be a little extra listening involved at the beginning of each lesson, okay? And then as well, like I talked about in the review lessons in the book, there are some comics and there are some board games as well included, okay? And then just kind of a quick preview for our workbook, just extra writing practice for the students to kind of consolidate what they've been learning in the class, okay? And I mentioned earlier the eSmart class. How many of you are actually using eFuture books and know about our eSmart class? Kind of curious here. Especially in this kind of time where a lot of teachers and students are going through online classes. I feel like this kind of resource should be kind of utilized, especially given our times right now. So how many are actually using eSmart class or know about eSmart class? First time hearing about it? Yeah, so if this is your first time, again, referencing our YouTube, I made a kind of step-by-step tutorial. It's a tutorial and walkthrough for eSmart class. So if you kind of search us on YouTube, you can see kind of an introduction to the platform and kind of what kind of resources and functions are available on there. So for those that are using our books, we have a lot of our ebooks on there. So, you know, if you're using Zoom, you can launch the ebook and then screen share the ebook rather than trying to take your textbook and then kind of showing the students, okay, open your book to this page and all that. Instead, you can open up the ebook and then present it to them on the screen as well, as a way to kind of have them focus on what page and all that. And once you do go back into the classroom setting, you can still use the ebooks. If you can, like in Korea, we had, well, in my classes, we had the computer set up to a TV. I was able to open up my ebook and put it on the TV and have this, when I would reference the book, I can have the students look on the TV as well. So if you go to esmartclass.net or contact your local partner about more information, you can access the ebooks through the platform, okay? So just kind of an extra resource that we have for almost all of our series, okay? So that's, even if you aren't using Smart Phonics, say you're using our course books, you can also, you know, have the ebook available for those series as well, okay? And then going into more of the lesson flow, kind of a little repetition here. So focusing on the introduction of the words, introduction of the phonics target, and then the writing practice, okay? Kind of matching up what letter for what word, okay? And then, of course, reiterating the story in each unit and extra writing practice. Yeah, I kind of mentioned already the lesson flow earlier, okay? So sometimes we get a lot of questions with our books. Oh, how long should one lesson take to finish? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? What pace should I be teaching my books at? Okay. So how should I pace my lessons? That's going to usually depend on your school or on your country. Because a lot of times, you know, depending on how many classes you have a week and how long those classes are will kind of dictate how long a lesson will take, okay? So within class times, one lesson can go anywhere from 40 to 60 minutes to 80 to 120, depending on how your schedule is. So in Korea, when I taught in the public school, all of our classes were 40 minutes long. So, and 3 times a week. So 40 minutes, 3 times a week. If the school wanted me to finish, you know, 6 lessons in 6 months, then I'd kind of have to break it down a bit, okay? So these are kind of the rough time guidelines that we have. We do also offer class schedules, more like syllabi, if needed. So for those that have, you know, 20 hours, we can kind of give you a guideline on how to break down each lesson. Okay, so we do give you an idea on how to pace your lessons. Okay, so 10 minutes a class, Romy? Or do you have 10 minutes? Hopefully like a 10-minute. Oh. So that's very short. That's probably the shortest. Is that like a 10-minute, is it like a tutoring, or is that actually your school class? It's interesting. Okay, main textbook. Okay, so like a 10-minute kind of section, like a phonics section. 40, 35 minutes, yeah. Yeah, I've had one teacher ask about phonics because they taught, I think it was every Saturday for 2 hours was kind of their schedule. So it's kind of, how can we adapt a book, a lesson for you guys? So if you guys need any extra help with that, feel free to contact us or contact your partners, and we have the kind of syllabi available for most of our series as well. Okay. Okay, so was there any questions regarding the Smart Phonics series before I get into some teaching tips and activity ideas for you guys? Hopefully, colleagues have been answering. If you had any questions in the Q&A, hopefully they got to you. If there's any kind of pressing question, feel free to let me know. So far, so good. California Bear. I'm also a Californian. It's good to go. Good to see you. Okay, so let's get into some teaching tips and activity ideas. All right. So kind of going through a lesson plan, what should we focus on? Okay. So I'll kind of go over 3 main kind of sections for this. First, kind of what's on us as teachers. What do we have to kind of think about, and what's important for us to kind of create in our class. And then as well as awareness. So I'll go deeper into awareness. It's the students kind of understanding, being aware of what they're learning, okay? And then fluency. So this is kind of that bridge into reading. So how can we practice fluency with the students, okay? So first, let's go with what's on us. Okay, so as teachers, what is on us to kind of provide for our students? So mainly focusing on warm-up and background knowledge. If you've seen many of our webinars, we kind of go over what we believe is the best kind of steps, the best steps to go in a lesson plan. And usually the warm-up and background knowledge are the first steps of a lesson. Okay, so kind of reiterating in more of a kind of phonics setting, how we can focus on warm-up and background knowledge, okay? So why is it important? So what should a warm-up do? Okay. So the warm-up usually, hopefully, is the first thing that you do in your lesson. And in my opinion, it is one of the most important because it kind of sets the tone for your lesson to your students, okay? So kind of looking over these points that I have here, the main one that I kind of bolded here is to be fun and lower stress, okay? So when we're teaching students, especially at this age, or depending on the age, or on the younger age with phonics, especially if they are being exposed to English for the first time, it can be very stressful, okay? So for those of you that have learned a second language, third language, whatnot, when you're first learning it, trying to understand it and grasp it, it gets very stressful. Okay? So knowing that for our students, remembering that for our students, the warm-up kind of eases them a bit, okay? It lets them kind of switch on English, going from their first language to the English mode. Okay? And can you see my slides? Sandra can't see. So I just need to check, make sure. Okay, everyone's okay? All right. Okay, you see it. Yeah, Cassandra, you might need to check your settings maybe, or, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so what I was saying with the warm-up, this is the start of the lesson. So how I always approached it is the students kind of switching their mode. Okay? They're switching from their Korean class to the English class. So they're getting ready to start, thinking and speaking in English. Okay, so I think that's a very important point we need to think about with our students. Okay? So with a warm-up that's easy and fun, kind of gets them in that mode and gets them into that mood. Okay? So, students, their feelings can change very quickly. So if you do something fun, it sets them up to, okay, this is fun, I'm enjoying this, I'm getting into the English class, okay? It gets them engaged as well. So you want to get the students engaged in the beginning to set them up to learn later on in class as well, okay? Also, I think it's also important to try to include all the students, okay? So some ideas for warm-ups that I've done, some activities, so simple telephone. So again, I talked about including all the students. So you can, show a flashcard to the first student in the line, and then they have to whisper the word to the next student, and then when the last student hears the word, they say it out loud. Okay? So it's something to involve all the students. Telephone, pass the ball as well, kind of gets a bit of anticipation. If you haven't played pass the ball, it's kind of a simple game. Play the music, have like some object, doesn't have to be a ball, and then they pass it around. When the music stops, they have to say a word or something, okay? So just something quick and easy. Okay? Again, warm-ups roughly should take 5 to 10 minutes, or maybe less than 10 minutes actually, 5 to 7 minutes, okay? So try not to make the whole lesson like a warm-up, okay? So just something simple to get them into the mindset of English, all right? Or just my favorite. So you can pick something, my favorite fruit. So what is your guys' favorite fruit? I had a banana this morning. It's kind of my go-to fruit. How about, what is your favorite fruit? Apples and bananas. That reminds me of a song when I was younger. Chocolate. The magical chocolate fruit. Oh, mangoes. Mangoes are good. Passion fruit. Yes. Cherries, apples. Blueberries. Nice. Dragon fruit. Anyone like durian? Is durian anyone's favorite fruit? lollipops, sugar, tuna. Oh, you guys make me laugh. Very good. And those are the kinds of, most likely in an elementary classroom, those are the kind of answers that you might get from your jokesters in class. Durian. Yeah, that's a distinct smell that I'll never forget. So yeah, in warm-ups, we're trying to focus on, fluency development, trying to build up the confidence for the students that will take them into the lesson, all right? As well as repetition if you're reviewing your previous lesson, okay? So that's the warm-up. And then what kind of warm-up activities do you do with your students? So I gave you 3 kind of ideas here. What are some activities that your students have liked or you feel is effective in class? Icebreakers, okay, brainstorming, okay, that's good. So kind of using like a word cloud or would be a good way, using to incorporate a brainstorm with visuals. Musical chairs. Mind mapping, good. Different games, brain activities. Word chain. So is the word chain like taking the last letter and then trying to make a word? What do you see? I see also playing like I Spy. And puzzles, singing a song. Singing a song is a good warm-up as well. Guessing games. Crazy 8s. Just remember, I know some of these, warm-ups take roughly 5 to 7 minutes. So when you do lesson plan, I kind of talked about this in a previous webinar. When you do lesson plan, just remember the prep time that goes into some of your activities. Okay? Hide and reveal flashcards, good. Sue did a similar one yesterday. You were there. Art games, very good. Lesson games, very good, very good. Okay, now let's get into background knowledge, okay? So this kind of helps just to get to know the student's level as well. Just finding out what the students already know, okay? And then knowing if you need to pre-teach vocabulary, pre-teach sentences. So you can do this on the phonics level or even in course books later. Background knowledge is always important to know from your students. Okay? Yeah, especially with the younger age, this last point here, students like to demonstrate their own knowledge. I mostly taught 5th and 6th grade students, but they're always eager to kind of show off what they know. So what they learned, whether outside of class or what new English words, what technology they learned, okay? So just giving those students the opportunity to kind of demonstrate to the class as well. Okay, so now we're getting into awareness. Okay, so this is kind of a big chunk here. So awareness. So what are they learning? Are they aware of what they're learning? All right. So what is phonological awareness? Phonological awareness. So we're getting these letters, the sounds of the letters, and then putting them into the words. Okay. So now we're getting into another guessing game here. I'm guessing here again. So phonological awareness. Awareness is the what? Okay, so number 1, understanding blank things happen. Number 2, allows new input to better blank. So awareness. See some hows. We have a 3-letter word here. So why, understanding why things happen. Understand that things happen. Teaching the students life lessons. Okay. Things happen. How things happen. And how about number 2, allows new input to better what? How things happen allows new input to better speak. Yes. How would knowledge? Ooh. Understanding. So remember the hint here. So these spaces here represent the number of letters in the word. How it sounds. I'll be impressed if anyone gets this second one. The first one, I did see one answer. Okay, so awareness is the understanding of why things happen. Why things happen. And allows new input to better stick. Okay? To kind of remember. Better remember, better to stick. Okay? So it's kind of like here, new phonics rules, but then new phonics rules plus awareness, understanding why. Okay? Yeah, kind of difficult, kind of tested you guys. So this would not be a good warm-up activity. It was too difficult. Okay? So what's the difference? So phonological awareness and phonics. What is the difference? So Patrick is asking you, what is the difference between phonological awareness and phonics? So phonological awareness includes the speech sounds, syllables, and rhymes. Okay? So it also includes phonemic awareness. So if you've been to some of my webinars before, I kind of talk about phonemic awareness and the differences between that and phonics. And phonics is just the matching. Okay? Mapping the speech of the sounds and letters together. So phonological awareness, phonemic awareness are the sounds itself, and then the phonics brings the sounds and letters together. Okay? And why is it important? Okay? Why is it important? So again, we're referencing some of my previous webinars. Phonemic awareness and phonics are the first 2 points of the Big Five. I think Sue mentioned it yesterday as well. The Big Five of literacy. Okay? So phonemic awareness, you're getting the sounds, knowing that the sounds exist. Okay? And then slowly you start going into the phonics. Right? So from knowing the sounds exist, so how do I put that into writing with the visual letters and sounds together? Okay? Right? And then phonological awareness, so kind of charting what it involves. So I talked about rhymes, syllables, and blending the sounds. So these are the kind of things that go into phonological awareness. And then within the categorizing sounds, the recognizing sounds and differentiating sounds are kind of the phonemic awareness. That's kind of where that comes in. So phonemic awareness is one of the kind of critical points inside phonological awareness. Okay? So any questions on this? I know it's kind of said a lot. If there's anything I need to kind of clarify for you guys, or if I'm talking too quickly, please let me know. I'll kind of re-elaborate on some of these. Okay. Good? All right. Okay. All right. Okay, so now let's go into some kind of activities that we can kind of practice phonological awareness. Okay. So like I talked about, one of the main subjects here is rhyming. Okay. So you can have a rhyme off. So you can do this whenever you have vocabulary being introduced or reviewed, and it helps the students differentiate and produce the sounds, okay? So this is kind of a low prep game that you can do with your students. So all you need is essentially people and maybe a word list, okay? So how you would do it: have 2 students, or you can have groups, depending on the level of your students. If you know that your students can produce the words by themselves, I would recommend probably going in pairs or into groups, okay? And then you can have them face off. You can bring them to the front or have them just stand up and pick a target sound. So like here, we pick the et sound, okay? Et. And then the students will go back and forth trying to rhyme. Think of as many words as they can for the target that you gave them. Whether or not you want to include nonsense words, maybe, maybe not. But yeah, trying to get them to produce as many words as they can, and the student that can produce the most kind of wins the round or wins a point, okay? So kind of a visual example here. So you can have the students start off with vet, jet, they go back and forth, wet, net, bet, clarinet. So maybe you can kind of develop or learn about the background knowledge, okay? Background knowledge of the students. Oh, the student knows the word clarinet, okay? So can you guys think of any other words that have this phonics target? Pet, good. Set, we have a lot of sets. Cabinet, met, let, get. Internet, very good. Yeah, very good. So you can kind of have the students go back and forth and also see what they know, okay? Faucet. Good. Okay, and then some other ones, rhyme and sit. So again, sticking with the rhymes. So you can, this helps the students differentiate, practice a little bit of listening. Okay, so how you do this one. So you have the students start by standing up, and then you kind of give a list of words, okay? But in those lists of words, you would have a word that doesn't rhyme. And when the students hear the non-rhyming word, they all have to sit down. And then depending on, you know, how sensitive your students might be, you can kind of do a last student standing. So if the last student to sit can be out, essentially, okay? So it's kind of another activity you can do. And then find it, okay? So again, this is working on when vocabulary is being introduced. And again, working on hearing, differentiating, producing. So this one includes a little bit of writing as well, or you can incorporate writing. So each student gets their board and marker, and then you can say 3 words or, you know, read a list of words, however much your students can handle. And then the students need to race to write down the word that does not rhyme, okay? And then they kind of put their boards up. If the students get it correct, you can do a point system, or you can have the students see who only does, the group that does it first gets a point. You get that way. Yeah, kind of the odd word out, yeah. Okay, and the next one here, you complete me. Okay, you complete me. So again, this also kind of practices some blending the sounds in addition to what we discussed earlier, okay? So this can be more of a group activity. So you bring up about 6 to 8 students, make sure that it's an even amount, okay? And then have them line up in a row, okay? And then you kind of tape, pin the word cards to their back, and then the students need to find their match, okay? But you have to make sure that the students do not see what's on their back, okay? So the first 2 to find their pair will get the win, essentially, okay? So how they would do it, they kind of have to read what's on someone else's back and then back and forth, okay? Or once they kind of hear what their word is, they can kind of find their match. And to have extra practice as well, once they do find their pair, you can have them come up to you and have them recite what word they have together. Okay? So like here, so this is kind of a visual example of what it is. So like one student would have the T, and that their keyword is tape. Another student would have the ape. Okay? So then they would have to kind of go back and forth. So you need to make sure to, because sometimes you can have little mix and match, but you have to make sure that the students do the word list, the key vocabulary. So like here, if we had these three here, you want the students for cave, but then they can also find cake, okay? So you'd have to make sure they have the keywords, all right? Okay, so any questions on phonological awareness? Phonological awareness. Before I get into some fluency practice and ideas. All good? All clear, good. So now some fluency. So what is fluency? So, oh, just to go back, okay, I see you, California Bear. So going back to here, so they don't know the sounds on their back. So they can see everyone else's, but they would have to kind of communicate with each other. So once, say they go up to the first person, they read on the back, oh, they see ape. And then they read their back, and they see the T. Then they would match up with tape. Okay? So they would kind of have to communicate with each other, like turning back and reading each other's words. Okay? All right, so fluency. So what is fluency? What's an importance? Yeah, show each other's back. Okay. Its importance, and then some activity ideas to improve. Okay? So, what is fluency? Fluency is reading quickly, accurately, and expressively. Okay? The way to speak. Okay? Speaking fast. So fluency, not necessarily speaking fast, that's a part of it, but yeah. So there's many different attributes that go into fluency. Okay? So this kind of goes into word recognition, modeling, repeated reading, scaffolding. So how can we practice fluency? Little hesitation. Yeah? So going through. So some kind of fluency practices that you can do with your students. So we talked about the speed. You can do speed reading. I did this activity before in a previous webinar, I believe. So it's essentially giving your students a time. So you can give the students, say you're doing your unit story in Smart Phonics. You can take that story and then see how long it takes the students to read the story, or see how long, how many words they can read in 1 minute or 30 seconds, depending on what challenge you want to give to your students. Okay, and kind of in the same regards, for number 2, giving them different time limits, okay, to read the passage. So fluency, remember, kind of not working too much with accuracy, just trying to get them practicing the language. So just decreasing the time. So try to read it in 40 seconds. Try to read it in 30 seconds, 20 seconds. But you can also see, well, I shouldn't say accuracy, but see how accurate and fast they can speak. Okay? And then kind of a fun one that you can do, depending on how big your classes are, distracting a reader. Okay? So have the students try to read a passage, but then also see, can you get them to mess up a bit? Okay? So that'd be kind of a fun exercise to do with your students. Okay, so getting through a bit more. So fluency dual here. Okay, so dual, just like the old times, you can have the students face back to back, and have flashcards. Okay, so you can utilize your flashcards with your students. Okay. I really enjoy this GIF. They can't seem to duel with each other. Okay. So how to do the fluency duel? So select target words or flashcards, and then the students will stand back to back, just like at the beginning of that GIF. You'll start back to back, and the students start walking away, and then you can tell them how many steps to go, or tell them, the teacher can give the cue to turn around. And then they show their flashcard, and you can either have the students read just the word, or maybe practice if for higher, maybe for course book stuff, you can have them practice a sentence. Okay, so they just have to read out the other person's card. Okay, so it's not turn around and read what their card is. It's turn around, read the other person's card. Okay, so another example here. So the students walk away, turn around, and then they answer. So like here, they can say the sentence, or depending on the level of your student, just the word. Okay? And sometimes you don't have to use a word card. Maybe you can just have the phonics target. So you just have the letter A, and the student will have to say, ant or alligator. Okay? So it's a way to kind of do variations of this activity. Okay? And then we have a relay race. Okay? Relay race activity. So this works with more communication with the students. Okay? So you'll have kind of groups, different groups of the students. Okay? So how to do the relay race. So usually in groups of 3, you can do groups of 4, depending on, again, the level of your students. So if you did 4, maybe you can have an extra runner. Just have to make sure that you can make the rule. If there's 2 runners, make sure that they're not in one place at the same time. Okay. So what these roles are. So one student will be the reader. So say they have a list of words, or they have a group of flashcards, and then they would read to the runner. Okay? So the runner will listen and say the words or the sounds. Okay? And then, oh, sorry, it might get a little confusing here. So the reader will read to the runner will take what they heard to the writer, and then the writer will write down the word. Okay? And then the first team to finish will win. Okay? So more of a visual example of what I said. So you'll have the writer on the left side, reader on the other side, or however well you'd like to do it. So then the runner will go to the reader's desk, they will say the word, then go back to the writer, tell the writer what they heard, and the writer will write it down. Okay? So like a relay. Okay? All right. And then some extra phonics activities that can go within fluency or awareness, or even warm-up activities. Okay, so I have 3 little extra activities here for you guys. Right, so we have a phonics scavenger hunt. So you can either use your ebook, or you can show any kind of picture on the screen to your students. So this is similar to an I Spy game that someone mentioned earlier. But then you can give a phonics target to the students. Okay? And whether or not you want to give them a time limit is up to you. Or you can turn this into a writing activity as well. So you can kind of show them some pictures and then give them a phonics target. So I give you the B sound here. So can you tell me what words do you see in the picture with the B sound? What words do you see here? Board, ball, book, bag, bell, map. We're looking at the B. Bowl. Very good. Good job. Good. So the ones I hear. So we have board, we have book, we have bell, bag, ball. So bulb would be kind of a background knowledge word here, like students know bulb as well. Globe, yeah, that involves the B as well. Okay, very good. So scavenger hunt, kind of a simple game as well. So another one I have here is erase the sound. Okay, so you can draw a picture, or maybe you can even incorporate some arts and crafts, like the students can create something. So I have a snowman here. I have a snowman. So then I give the target word or target phonics target, and you need to erase the word or the object with the sound. Okay. So I have the k sound, the C. Which word here do I need to erase on my snowman? Oh, circle. Circle's a special one. So not circle, I'll give you that one. So k. So when you make a snowman, of course I didn't put the actual thing on here. Carrot, very good. So the carrot. Cap is also another one, but yeah. Obviously your students will know which target words they're practicing. Coal can also be used for the buttons. You guys are very good. Thinking well and beyond me. Cone. Oh. You guys' vocabulary and background knowledge is greater than maybe some of your students. But the one I was looking for here was carrot, okay? So the nose usually is a carrot, all right? Okay, and the next one here, B. B. So think for a snowman. So B will be button, very good. Suyang and, I didn't see the Korean name. Misuk, okay? Good, so B would be, oh, not body. If we threw away the body, then that would kind of throw away a lot of the snowman. This one here, button. Oh, you guys are great. Oh, the buttons, we're focusing on the buttons. You're making me think back to my students. My students would have said body as well. Okay? And then last one, huh. I already know what some people might say. I'm waiting for it in the chat. So the answer is hat. Is no one going to say it? Oh, okay. There it is. Thank you, Maria. That's the one I was looking for. Head. Someone would say head. Okay, but this one is hat. Okay, so not helmet. That wasn't a helmet. Yeah. Okay, so very good. So you can do erase the sound like this. So you can do snowman or other words and then have them do it that way. Okay? You can have a zoo or something do animals. You can do it that way too. Okay? You guys make me crack up. Okay. And then next one here, we have kaboom. So this one will be the last phonics activity that I'll be sharing here. So this one you will need popsicle sticks, or you can, popsicle sticks, or you can maybe glue some words on toothpicks or something. And put, maybe not toothpicks, that's actually dangerous for the students. But using popsicle sticks, you can put the phonics targets, or you can put words on them and then put them in a cup or jar, and the students will take them out. Okay? And then as they read them, they read the word or make a word. But then also there'll be some kaboom sticks. Kaboom. And if the students pull out the kaboom, then they lose all their sticks. Okay? And they kind of lose the game. Okay? So it's kind of like a bomb game, essentially. So the kaboom stick would be the bomb, and they lose all their points, they put it back. They put all their sticks back, and then they go again. Okay? So I would probably recommend putting a lot of sticks in there. You can put more than one kaboom stick if you'd like. It'd be kind of fun, but yeah, kind of a simple game there. All right? So those are some phonics activities for you guys. All right? So those were kind of my tips and strategies and activities for you guys today. So I'm going into my kind of wrap up here. So we have a lot of resources for you guys. eFuture. You can check out our website, like I talked about, for downloadables. The eSmart class, a lot of things on there, extra practice, a lot of programs, has all the ebooks on there. Be sure to check that out. You can see it on our YouTube channel. So you can look here, search eFuture ELT, and you can find all of our videos. Follow us on Facebook if you aren't, Global ELT eFuture. We post all of our webinar schedules, a lot of resources that you might not know from our YouTube. We try to provide you guys with as much resources as possible. Yeah, so these are all the things that you can find from resources from us. For those of you that are in various countries, I talked about contacting our partners. These are their emails. So feel free to contact them for any inquiries into Smart Phonics, into any of our other series. Before you guys go, please fill out the survey that is being put in chat by my colleagues. Let us know what we can do for you guys, what you guys thought about our webinar. We appreciate any feedback you guys give us. Please let us know as well any topics that you guys would like for us to cover in any future webinars. We do take in your guys' feedback and see your suggestions. I personally see them, so I keep track of that. So please let us know what we can do. We do have one more webinar this month. We are already at the end of June. We're halfway through the year. Can you believe it? So we do have one more from our colleague Alana, who will be going over graded readers. Okay, so young learners and graded readers, how to use those in the classroom. She'll give you some great ideas on reading and using readers in your classroom. And if you have any questions about, my presentation, about anything, feel free to email me as well. Yeah, follow us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. We do have Instagram. I forgot to put that in here, but we do actually have an Instagram account. I believe it's eFuture ELT. If you search eFuture, we will have the Instagram on there as well. But we update our Facebook as well with the same kind of content. So if you have Facebook, please be there. Message us any questions on there as well. So I'll leave our partners' information up here again. So please feel free again to let us know how we did, how I did. I take in all the feedback. I know I speak kind of quickly sometimes, so I apologize if I spoke a bit quickly today. I try to be conscious of how quickly I'm speaking. So I really enjoyed today, guys. You guys made me laugh quite a bit today. So please be safe going out, coronavirus and everything. Please be safe. Hope you're safe, your family, your students. We're doing okay over here, doing the best that we can. And we hope to see you again. It's good seeing some of the same names in the chat. It's great to see you, viewers coming back. So thank you guys. So I'll be here, I'll give another couple of minutes, and I hope you guys have a good rest and sleep for those that are having in the evening time. And for those that it should be maybe 4 or 6 a.m. now, I hope you guys have a good breakfast and you have a nice coffee to start your day. So 4 a.m., yeah, get some coffee and some breakfast now, or if you're eating breakfast while you're watching. Yeah, we will have more webinars next month. So be sure to follow our Facebook page. We will update our schedule. So we're kind of in meetings a lot with what we're going to do for next month, but we will continue as long as, as we can or as needed to provide contents to you guys. So we will be giving you some more this month. Oh, yeah, we have one next week. So we have the schedule for this. We have next week, and then we have, again, we're going to continue once a week next month as well. So we're not leaving you until next month. I'm just saying we're going to continue these webinars for the next month. All right? So for all of you in South America, Latin America, get some rest. Hopefully I didn't make you too tired throughout this webinar. So, oh, yeah, I'll show you the schedule for next week. So same start time. It's the same start time next week, depending on where you are. We do try to list the various start times in different countries on our registration page. So you can see your start time on the registration page of the webinar as well. And again, I've been saying this a lot. Facebook, I'll be posting, a reminder post about our webinar next week with the registration link. So be sure to check those out as well. Okay, so thank you guys for your nice warm words. I appreciate all your guys' feedback, and I hope I was helpful for you guys today. All right, so until next time, I hope you guys have a great day and have a good day, afternoon, evening. All right, take care, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen. Sayonara. Adios.